something very interesting, which I didn't actually realize. And you were talking about the moon of England being in Pisces. Do you want to just elaborate on that further?
Yeah, because every planet, and when I say planet, I use the term loosely because I also include the sun and the moon in that. Every planet has a positive side and a shadowy negative side. So it's not like, Venus is so all love and light, because I very much work with the planets as archetypes, and it's like the gods are alive and well in our psyche today as they were 3,000 years ago. So with the moon, the positive side of moon in Pisces is very much to do with art and music and our connection with the numinous spiritual. The shadowy side, because Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is very watery. It's that longing in all of us to return to the source, where we have no responsibility, we have no harsh reality to deal with, the paying of the bills, that kind of thing.
Yes.
It gives us that escapist tendency. And so with the moon in Pisces, I think on the one hand it gives us, a very generous National Health Service and, welfare state. But the more shadowy side is our alcohol problem.
Yes, and we do have a big problem with that, with the binge drinking.
We do have a big problem with that. We have a lot of people that really rely heavily on the nanny state.
Yes.
Because it's quite victim-like.
Yes.
It just wants to be looked after. And it's the opposite, if you like, to our Capricornian nature. So it's like the shadow side of the nation. It's in a very dynamic aspect with the planet Uranus, which gives us that sort of eccentricity. The mad professor. It also gives us, makes us very, very powerful in the world of music, in new music. And we always have been world leaders.
We have, haven't we? We've always done well abroad. We've had bands go to places like America and really make an influence with the style of music that they've played. So yes.
Yes, because the moon and Uranus is very much to do with the new, the exciting. What can we invent? And that's why we always have been a nation of inventors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got the good and the more challenging side to it. And yes, it's tucked away there in the 12th house. The chart is divided up into what are called houses, which represent different areas of life. And the 12th house is one to do with all the things that Piscean, if you like, spirituality, deep compassion for the suffering of others. It rules things like institutions, hospitals, prisons, the hidden things, if you like, or our unconscious as well, which also rules the unconscious. But that's the moon in Pisces in our chart. And
I think, you sort of giving us those descriptions, it really does suit what this country is like. It's just so fascinating, because as soon as I heard you say, when I've listened to your lecture and you've talked about that moon and Pisces, I'm like, yep, I get it. The people needing the benefits. I've lived abroad in the past, and they're not as giving to their people as we are. If you need anything, you have to really go out and work for it. And we do have that culture here, which of course is cause many problems, and there's a lot of fighting about, is it too much? Are we doing too much? Are we giving too much? But as you say, there is that other side of us where we even maybe create victims, by giving. We create a dependency, and it seems like it's going to be a very hard thing to break. So, but I think it's a very, very interesting, something that you've picked up on, and I think it's just like, wow, yeah, she's because I've not heard anybody else say that, and I think that's quite original. And also, you were talking about the ascendant as well. We have is it an Aries ascendant?
Yes. Yes. This gives us. Muhammad Ali was a Capricorn with Aries rising. It's rather fantastic to have that fiery ascendant. The ascendant was whatever sign is coming up over the horizon at the moment of birth. So it's how you sort of meet any new situations. And when you've got Aries rising, you sort of leap into things. It's very impulsive. It loves the conquest. And if you think of Muhammad Ali, he really loved to fight.
Yeah, he did.
And then combine that with the Capricorn sun, which likes to make things solid and lasting, certainly long after the person's died. It's like, yes, they've got that initial impulse to go out, and I think that's why we sort of built our empire so quickly and so powerfully. I remember when I was a child, we used to have those globes where the Commonwealth was all pink, and it was like half the globe seemed to be pink. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And yes, that is a sort of reflective of a fire sign ascendant and an earth sun, which grounds it. Because the fire signs in their own right, if it's all fire, it's very difficult to ground it. So there's a lot of initiation and impulsive actions, but then this boredom sets in and they move on to the next new thing. Whereas the Earth Sun grounds it very much.
And it also gives us that ambition, doesn't it? That Capricorn Sun with the Aries ascendant, and making in the past Britain had to have this empire. They were never satisfied, were they, with the territories? Always wanting more, wanting to be the pioneer, and doing quite a lot of damage as well. With that, Aries energy, horrific things were done. Yes.
Yeah. But yes, I think it sort of really does encapsulate the personality of the country. And that's why we're so different to like Italy or Spain or one of the other countries. It's the same with America. They are just so much representing their chart.
Now, America, do they have Sagittarius on the ascendant?
They do. They're a Cancer country.
Yeah, they're a Cancer country, born on the 4th of July.
There, everything's the family.
Yeah, it is. God and the family.
Firms are known as the family.
Yes.
Religious groups are often the family. They're very, very much interested in homeland security and that kind of thing.
And it's interesting the names they come up with as well. We think, they just pull these things out of the air, but there's a reason why they're drawn to certain names and terms. We call what we have the nanny state. That Piscean energy and that dependency. And in America, it's like, as you say, it's all home and family, and with the security thing, because Cancer is about security as well, homeland security, as you were just saying. It is all very interesting, and I suppose this is what people don't understand about astrology, is that it's so dynamic, and it's so much bigger than all of us, really. I mean, we try to translate it for others to sort of understand, but it's very, very deep, and you could spend your whole life basically studying it, trying to understand all the intricacies, couldn't you?
I'm trying.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Me too. So we're going to just take a quick break, Helen, and we're going to play a song. And when we come back, we're going to continue with this great conversation that we're having, and we can also then pick up with the Uranus and Pluto square that is now sort of coming due, and go into that side of the alignments that we'll be dealing with. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back.
You're listening to www.peterborough.fm. One station, many communities.
You're here with me, your host, Valentine St. Aubin, and this is Esoteric Discussions. And I'm joined by a great guest tonight. I'm joined by the professional astrologer, Helen Sewell, and we've been talking about the astrology of 2012 and also just in general England's birth chart, if you may. And I'm just going to open up a mic so she can join me back here on the show. Are you with me, Helen?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. So, we've had a great introduction to, you've been highlighting the chart for England and telling us all of the intricacies in terms of its birthright. So let's now get into the alignments and how all of this is shaping up for us. Because earlier in the show you were talking about Uranus and Pluto making a certain aspect, and there's a history with that aspect, so maybe let's just jump into that and talk about that.
Sure. Well, what's really interesting about this particular aspect, which is called a square aspect, it's when planets reach a 90-degree orb between each other. Very dynamic. Now, when the cycle began, when these two planets were together in Virgo, this was in the mid-60s, 65, 66 was the exactness. Now, what's quite interesting about this particular cycle is that this is the first cycle we've had since the discovery of Pluto. So, like pre-1930, when Pluto was discovered, and by the way, if you really want to get to know the essence of a planet, the outer